Hi my dear children, yes, so today we are going to see about the female reproductive system, the fascinating female reproductive system as I call, right? The fascinating female reproductive system. Alright guys, so what are the parts of the female reproductive system? I have given you a beautiful picture here. So it starts with a pair of ovaries which is the primary sex organ, right? Ovaries, as you can see here, pair of ovaries, right guys? Yes. And then you have the pair of oviduct. Can you see the two tubes which are connected from the ovaries? Yes. So you have a pair of oviduct. So there are two other names for oviduct. You can also call it as fallopian tubes, or you can call it as uterine tubes as well. So these are the different names of the oviduct. Alright, and then you have this inverted pear-shaped organ which is known as the uterus, where the baby grows if fertilization happen. And then you have this opening of the uterus, right? So this portion we call it the cervix. What is it guys? The cervix. And then you have the ultimate opening which is known as the vagina, right? So these are the parts, and apart from that, if you ask me, ma'am, what are involved in the female reproductive system, there is this external genitalia, which we call it to be the vulva. Alright guys, and finally pair of mammary glands. If you ask me, ma'am, mammary glands, are they part of a female reproductive system? Yes, of course. The mammary glands have a role to play with ovulation, fertilization, right? And even, during pregnancy and also after birth, nourishing the baby, right? Yes. So all these are the parts of the female reproductive system. Done guys? Done? Yeah, so now look at it now. Now look at this guys. A pair of ovaries, pair of oviduct, uterus, cervix, vagina, the external genitalia and the pair of mammary glands. Alright guys, so these are the parts. Let us look at them one by one. Look at this beautiful picture guys. So this picture I have shown you where is the location. So this is actually a cross section of the side view of the reproductive system. So guys, if you make a cut, you can see this. So what is this part here? What is this part here guys? This is the rectum guys, right? The end of the large intestine, you have the opening which is the anus. Alright, and this is the urinary bladder, this one. So let me use another color here. So this is the urinary bladder, and this orifice, this opening is the urethra. So this is the urinary bladder. I'm just writing it UB, urinary bladder. And this middle one, that is your uterus guys, that is the uterus. You can see the fallopian tube that side and also an ovary there. Yes, can you see that guys? Yeah. Now since it's a cross section, you can see one side of that. So that is the reason you can see only one ovary that side, right? Yes. So guys, you can evidently see that the uterus, right, the female reproductive system is located in between the rectum and the urinary bladder. Which means, look at the opening guys, the ultimate opening of the urinary bladder is the urethra. And the ultimate opening of the large intestine is the anus. So feces are excreted out through the anus, and the urine is excreted out through the the urethra. And in the middle you have the opening of the reproductive system, which is the vagina. Yes, no guys. So that is the reason a lot of infection, we say that it is an infection prone region if hygiene is not maintained properly. Because see, if there are any bacteria in the feces or in the urine, they can easily come and infect the vagina. Right, since it's central to both of these openings. So that is why this genital hygiene is very, very important. Alright guys, and this is again a beautiful picture. Look at this guys, look at this. You can evidently see the pelvic bone there. Can you see it guys? Can you see the pelvic bone here? Yes. Likewise this side. Yes, you can see the pelvic bone. Am I right? Yes guys. Yeah. So this is where your reproductive system is located. It is located in the pelvic region. What is pelvic region guys? Below the hip bone. The hip bone is actually the pelvic bone, right? So below the hip region, that is the pelvic region. Above this, so this is pelvic region, and above this you call it the abdominal region, right? So you have the uterus in the lower pelvic region. Alright guys, yes? Yeah, and this is the location. You can exactly see how it is located, and the ultimate opening, which is the vagina. Alright guys, yes, very, very important. You have to notice. Alright, so that's about the introduction to what are the components of the female reproductive system, a beautiful cross-sectional view so that you know where it is exactly located, right? And also the front view I have shown you where you can see where exactly. So you have to use the word pelvic region. Alright guys. Hi my dear children, so now we are going to look about the ovaries as I told you. So guys, if you take the ovaries, right? So I have given you a beautiful cross-sectional picture of ovary. So guys, what is this actually depicting? What is this actually, guys? Can you see a yellow colored portion there? I am marking it. Look at this, guys. Can you see this outer yellow portion? Yeah, that outer yellow portion is known as peripheral cortex. What is it, guys? It is known as the peripheral cortex. And can you see a darker inner portion, the dark brown portion there? Yeah, so that is known as the medulla, right? The inner medulla. Alright, guys. Now, what is this cortex actually having? If you look at the yellow portion, you can see tiny structures there, right? No, guys, spherical structures. So, the cortex is consisting of the ovarian follicles. Ovarian follicles. What are these follicles now? These follicles are the one which are having the eggs inside. The egg cells are inside the follicles. Alright, guys. And look at the medulla, guys. Look at the medulla. So I'll tell you what is the medulla made up of. Look at this picture. This is again a cross section of an ovary. This is the medulla, the in middle, right? The inner medulla. And look at the outer cortex, right? The outer cortex. Alright, the medulla is rich with blood vessels. No, guys, you can see the arteries and veins there. So it is rich with blood vessels. It is rich with nerves and also the lymphatic vessels. Alright, guys. So that is about the medullary portion. Now, guys, of course, you know that ovary is the primary sex organ and all. And what is the covering of the ovaries lined with? So, guys, of course, an epithelium. And this outermost covering, if you ask, is made up of an epithelium called as germinal epithelium. What is it, guys? Germinal epithelium. Nothing but made up of the cuboidal cells. Guys, you think as if it's floating, but actually not, guys. It is actually attached back to the abdominal wall. It is attached to the abdominal wall, guys. Right? With the help of what? With the help of something called as ligament. Ligament is a connective tissue, no, guys? Yes. So that connective tissue attaches the ovaries to also to the uterus and also to the abdominal wall. It is fixed actually to the abdominal wall. It's not freely floating. Alright, guys. But the picture appears to be like that. But actually, what is the reason behind it? It is actually attached to the abdominal wall, right? That is the true sense. Now, if you see the ligament. So, guys, there are many ligaments. So, let me take you through the ligaments. What are the ligaments present? The very first ligament is called as utero-ovarian ligament. Utero-ovarian ligament. Now, where can you see this, guys? Can you see the ovaries here? So, these are the pair of ovaries. Can you see this ligament, guys? Can you see this ligament attached to the uterus? Since it is attached to the uterus and the ovaries, it is known as utero-ovarian ligament. Alright, guys. So, one ligament done. What is the next ligament, guys? Can you see some space here? Some space here. Yeah, that is nothing but the abdominal wall, which is attached to the reproductive system. That we call it the mesovarium. And even on this side, right? On this side, you have this ligament, which is known as suspensory ligament. What is that, guys? Suspensory ligament. Alright, you can see the ligaments even extending to that side of the ovary. That is suspensory ligament. And how is the whole of the uterus is attached to the abdominal wall? With the help of a very big ligament called the broad ligament. Can you see that, guys, evidently? Yes, the broad ligament itself pushes itself to the pelvic region and attaches it to the abdominal wall. Understanding, guys? So, this is the basic support system there. Alright, so that's about the ovaries, guys. We saw about the internal structure and we saw about the ligament. Hi guys, now we have completed about the ovaries. The second part is the pair of oviduct, right? The pair of oviduct. So we learn all about the oviduct. This is such a beautiful picture, guys. Look at the picture. And do you remember about the ligament concept which I told you? And I told you something called as utero-ovarian ligament. Do you remember that, guys? Look at this ligament. This is that. Can you see that the ovary is attached to the uterus through a ligament? That is known as utero-ovarian ligament. Alright? Yes, let me write it for you. Utero-ovarian ligament. Alright, guys. Now we are looking upon the topic oviduct. So where is it starting from? Here to here. Now, guys, look at this finger-like projections there. So what is that? What is that? I will tell you. And this portion is a funnel-shaped portion, right? No, guys. This we call it the infundibulum. What is this portion, guys? That is known as the infundibulum. It is actually funnel-shaped. And you can see a very broad region here, right? A very broad lumen region, which is known as ampulla, where actually the fertilization happened. The site of fertilization is oviduct, and more specifically, ampulla of the oviduct. And this narrow lumen portion, right after the ampulla, this part you call it the isthmus. Isthmus. Alright, guys. So what are the different sections? Infundibulum, which is the funnel-shaped part, the ampulla, which is very broad lumen, and then you have the narrow lumen portion of the tube, which is called as isthmus. Alright, guys. Now look at this infundibulum, guys. It has edges like fingers. right? So these finger-like projection arising from the infundibulum is known as fimbriae. What is it, guys? The fimbriae. Actually, they are the portion which are attaching to the ovaries. Alright, so you can see the attachment here in this portion. Alright guys, so they attach to the ovaries and the eggs will be released from the ovaries. We call that process where the mature egg is released into the fallopian tube as ovulation. The egg will be released like this, right? The egg will be released like this, and then the egg travels like this, and it will be actually waiting in the ampullary region for the sperm to enter. It will basically wait for fertilization. If fertilization happen, it travels like this and get embedded in the uterus. If not, the menstrual cycle will happen, right? That is the menstruation. Menstruation will take place. Alright guys, that I will explain you when I teach you the concept of menstrual cycle. So this is about the fallopian tube. Alright guys, infundibulum, ampulla, isthmus, and the infundibulum is the funnel shaped structure which has finger-like projections called as fimbriae, which actually holds the ovaries. And which is the site for fertilization? Ampulla, which is the very wider portion. It is very wider where the fertilization happens. And then after fertilization, the zygote that will develop into a structure called blastocyst that will get implanted in the uterine wall. Alright guys, shall we next look about the uterus? Look at the uterus. Yes, so guys, now see, we have completed about the ovaries, the infundibulum, the ampulla, the isthmus. Now about the uterus, guys. Now about the uterus where the baby grows if fertilization happens. Guys, uterus actually have three different layers. What are the three layers? The outer perimetrium, the inner myometrium, myo means middle, okay, middle myometrium, and the further innermost endometrium. Alright guys, so this is very important actually. Look at this guys, if you look at this portion, this outer portion is the perimetrium, right? This is the perimetrium. Alright guys, and this middle portion, let me mark it with different color. This middle portion is the myometrium, alright, this is myometrium. And then you have the innermost region. Can you look at this portion guys? Look at this portion now. This is what is your endometrium, the innermost layer. If fertilization happened, and what will happen next? Zygote formation, then the embryo will be formed and it will get implanted here in the endometrium. If not, what will happen? There is no need for the endometrium if fertilization is not happening, and this endometrium will shed off and come out through the vagina in the form of blood and mucus. Alright guys, so that is the period cycle we actually say, which happens every month. Alright guys, yeah, apart from that there are important terminologies which you have to keep in mind. So let me tell you that as well. Okay, so guys, now that the uterine layers are completed, can you see an opening here of the uterus? That we call it the cervix, right? And the vagina actually starts from here, right? This is the vaginal portion, and you can see that there are two openings in the internal cervix itself. So this opening, we call it the internal orifice. What is it guys? It is known as the internal orifice, internal opening of the cervix, and this is the external orifice of the cervix. And then you actually have this ultimate opening which is known as the vagina. Alright guys, yes. So that's about the cervix, and vagina we call it the organ where or the part where copulation, coitus, that is the sexual intercourse happens. Alright guys, yeah. So that is about the ovaries, the fallopian tubes, the uterus, cervix, vagina. Now that we have completed everything, the next thing is about the external. You can see the different parts. So let me tell you what are the parts which you have to keep in your mind. So this portion which is known as the mons pubis, you can see this portion which is very much rich with the fat molecules, I can say rich with the adipose. So that is mons pubis, where you can see the pubic hair. And the major parts you have to know is the labia majora, labia minora, the clitoris, and the hymen. Right guys? Yes. So if you look at this picture, you can see this fleshier outer part, right? So this outer fleshy region is what is known as the labia majora, and then you can see a thin flap inside, right? That is known as labia minora. Alright guys, and here you can see a small finger-like projection. This is known as the clitoris. So if you ask me what is this labia majora and minora for? Protection. Alright guys. And clitoris, that actually stimulates the sexual pleasure during the intercourse. So we call that as the pleasure structure. So that is the clitoris. And then you have the urethral opening there, right? The urethral opening through which the urine is excreted out. And then you have the vagina, right? Look at the vagina. And there is a small layer there which is known as the hymen, alright? I have written as hymen, so it's hymen. Alright guys, and you can see the anus here. So see, you can see the anus and the urethra, and the vagina is located in between that. That is the reason a great amount of hygiene has to be maintained. If not, it is more prone to a lot of bacterial infection, because bacteria in the urine or the feces, they can bring about a lot of infection to the vaginal region. Alright guys, so this is about the external genitalia, and you have to know about two other glands guys, which is located internally. So I will tell you about the glands. Yeah. So guys, if you see about the female reproductive system, you have to know two glands, namely the Bartholin's gland and the Skene's gland. Alright. So these are the glands which are present. Basically, they help in lubrication. Lubrication during what? Lubrication during the sexual intercourse. So if you take the Bartholin's gland, it is located on the either side of the vagina internally. That gives out this fluid which acts like a lubricating fluid. Right? And if you ask me where is the Skene's gland located? Internally, near the urethra, like this. Both are paired. So that also gives out the fluid which lubricates. So if you ask me what is this Bartholin, you can consider it to that of the bulbourethral gland in male. That is kind of like of the Cooper's gland in male, and Skene's gland is like that of a prostrate gland in male. Alright guys, that is the comparison which you can make. So this is all about the external genitalia, where you have to know about the labia majora, minora, which is for protection, the clitoris, which stimulates the sexual pleasure, and the hymen, which is the layer which is found in the vagina. Alright guys, so that's about the external genitalia. Hope you all enjoyed. So if you enjoyed the lecture, give a like, a thumbs up, right? Subscribe to the channel. I will be coming up with a lot more videos, and children, it will be very, very, very helpful if you put the topics in the comment section. Ma'am, please teach so and so. Please teach me circulatory system, respiratory system, whatever you feel free to put it in the comment box. Yeah, I'm here to help you all. Whatever topic you want me to teach, yeah, from your grade 9 10 biology, I'm here to help you. And apart from that, kiddos, do subscribe and share it with your friends. It will be very helpful. Trust me. Yeah, share it with your classmates. Give them the link, right? Ask them to watch the video. If they like, they can, they can subscribe and all. No compulsion. But share with your friends. Let us share knowledge. Okay, bye-bye, tata, and take care.